Alright, today I'm going to show you guys how to change out your prop guards on your GepRC Cinelog35 V2. If you're like me, you will inevitably crash this drone, and one of the first things that will probably have to be replaced for most flyers is these prop guards. If you're lucky enough, just the prop guards. If you're unlucky, like me and many others have been, it will also probably be an arm on the top frame. And if that happens, that requires you to take apart everything and rebuild it from scratch. But for today, just going to show you how to take out the prop guards and switch them out. I'm taking apart my drone because I'm going to be putting on some longer antennas for my receiver, and just trying to see if I can find a better placement for it as well. So let's get started. All right, so the first step is to remove the prop guards. Now, the way that this drone is built is the prop guard actually sits between the top of the frame and the motor. So to detach the prop guards, you'll have to disconnect all four of the motors from the frame. So let's get started. All right, let's remove the motors and get the prop guard off. Okay, so we have all four motors. Top screws have been removed. Now we're going to flip this over and work on the bottom. So if you see my other videos, you've seen that I always put these landing pads on all my drones. So I did the same thing here, especially with this drone. So because it does sit flush if it doesn't have it on the ground, and I don't want it picking up any dirt or rock or anything else and throwing that into the props. So I always put those on. So let's get these disconnected. So in addition to the screws that we took out on the top, we have to take off screws here. We have to disconnect right here as well, the flight controller. Take this protective plate off so that way we can access the screws that hold the prop guards in place on the drone. So let's get those removed as well. Now, one thing to keep in mind is you only have to remove these four screws on the outside of this plate. The four on the inside are actually holding the DJI-03 air unit, so you don't need to take off those, otherwise this is going to get disconnected as well. We can see we're dirty, so I'm going to clean in here as well. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to take it apart and show you guys on how to replace the prop guards. So now that we have those disconnected, let's get the prop guards off. So I have some tape here. I put the tape on because I have the DJI-03 air unit, and there's a cable that runs from the camera back to the transmitter, and I wanted to make sure that that was protected and doesn't come loose and get caught in the props. Okay, we're back. Sorry, I had to fix the light. Alright, let's take these prop guards off. Just be careful when you're doing this to grab onto snag any cables and rip them off. You can see that you have these standoffs that these go on, and so you want to remove those. Just pull up, keep an eye on the props. And there you go. Your guards are removed. And now we can work on the drone and replace anything that we need to, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. Okay, so I'm done cleaning, and I decided to keep my transmitter for my Express LRS in the same spot. This was actually really dirty inside. Again, like I said before, being so low to the ground for this drone, it kicks up a lot of dirt, and it definitely got in here. It was on the flight controller, and it had actually got some stuck on the DJI-03 unit, which was butting up against the flight controller. And this makes sense because I kept seeing on my drone that the temp was staying fairly high when I'm flying, and that was a little concerning to me. So I'm glad that I caught that and cleaned it out. One also thing to keep in mind is that if you bought your drone as a bind and fly like I did, and again, being my first drone, I mentioned before, taking this apart and putting it back together is not an easy task. It is time consuming, and especially frustrating as a new flyer where these prop guards break pretty easily, even with a low impact crash. Even disarming from a little too high will cause this to crack. I've had this crack on grass, dirt, doesn't matter what it is, it seems to break whenever it's hit. So time consuming to take apart, put back together, especially if it's your first drone. But if you built this from the ground up, bought the frame, assembled it, this shouldn't be an issue or problem reassembling this or taking this apart and reassembling. But it's definitely a couple things to keep in mind. With these prop guards, there is a specific way to put them on. If you're looking at these right here, these kind of sit on top of each other. If you were to try to put them on the opposite way, let me see if I can turn this. So you can see right here, these standoffs are long. This one on the corresponding side is short. So this fits right on top of the other when you're reassembling it back onto the drone. If you were to try to do it the opposite way, the wrong way, it's not going to allow you to, so that's one thing to keep in mind. It won't allow you to assemble it correctly, so just when you're putting it back on, make sure you line everything up. So let's get this connected. So first thing, line up your prop guards on the frame. Get these standoffs aligned. So you can push those down. Make sure your motors are not in the way. This probably would have been a lot easier if I would have took off the props. But I'm already taking apart enough things. I didn't want to take off the props as well. And since I'm not connecting a battery to this at any point, it's safe for me to work with it. So now I got this connected, this lined up. On this side, same thing. Get this aligned with the standoffs. Align with the motor. Oh, keep that in mind. Make sure that DJI 03 unit is out of the way. Otherwise, you're going to have to take this apart again. So now I have everything aligned. I can start screwing things back together. Oh, missed this part. So you can see right here, I have the 03 air unit. Actually, I'm okay right there. Want to make sure that that cable is going to be out of the way, so that way it does not get caught by these props. Cable's running right here. You could see it right here. Make sure it's out of the way, tucked in there. This is why I taped this side right here. Everything's lined up. And let's get this reassembled, starting with the 03 air unit, getting that screwed in and aligned, and then we'll move on to reassemble on the frame and put the motors on last. I'm going to reassemble the front. Keep in mind that these two screws are longer and need to be lined up with the standoffs in the front for mounting the frame. And this is where the 03 air unit attaches. All right, we're done right here. Let's move on and get these motors reattached as well. and we're done. Everything's reassembled. With some practice, you can get this done in about 10-15 minutes. Again, with this drone, it's going to become pretty common, especially if you're flying it all the time or this is your main drone. Repairing the prop guards are going to be something that's going to just be part of your normal day-to-day operations. It'd be a good investment to get a couple of these packs while you can. You can get them from most of the FPV suppliers online, just to have them ready to go in case you need them. I think one other thing in closing that's important for me and when I'm doing these videos is there's a lot of review videos about how these drones fly, how they operate, how they maneuver, but I don't see, at least I feel in a lot of the videos I've watched, I don't see a lot talking about the repairability or the ease of repairability when it comes to these drones. Anyone can definitely fly these, we can put these out, but it's another thing to repair them or have to take them apart and repair them, because you're going to crash, we all do, but being able to repair them is just as important as flying them, in my opinion. The availability of spare parts is something that has to be thought of how easy it is to get these parts in. How fast can you get them? Do I have to order them directly from the supplier or manufacturer? Can I get them from FPV suppliers online, Amazon, whatever it may be? Because if these drones go down and it takes you several weeks to get parts in, that's something you may need to consider before you purchase it. So like I said, I ended up ordering multiple of these packs directly from GepRC, came overseas, as well as spare parts for just about everything, including the motors. I touched on that in another video. But also keep in mind about how easy it is to repair. Like I said, that's an important part of that, and that's why I want to just get these videos out there. All right, catch you on the next video.